Bonjour, class. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today, we are going to do a little bit of vocabulary called Les voyages à l'étranger. If you look there at the title here, we're talking about traveling abroad. One thing that I think is really funny about this particular lesson is I am absolutely certain that you will not remember your geography. We've learned that from days in the past. So I'm going to help you with some of this geography, but luckily you can look it up as well. But what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about how you say some of these different countries in French. Now, first of all, I want to talk about some of these specific phrases here on page 438, okay? So at the top, où est-ce que tu vas faire? Oh, sorry, that's a cue. Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire cet été? What are you going to do this summer? All right, so if we're talking about where we're going to go, we've got je vais aller. I am going to go. If we say à l'étranger, you're going abroad. If you're going on a trip, je vais voyager. Or je vais faire un voyage. Either one works. Je vais faire un séjour would be I'm going to spend some time, okay? Now, if we look down here, some of these words you've already learned. Some of them are easier than others. Obviously, un continent is a continent. Une région is a region. Now, right here, un état. If you think a long time ago, we talked about les États-Unis, which was United States. So if we're talking about visiting a particular state, the word state is masculine and it's un état, okay? Un pays is a country. All right, so we've got some specific countries here. One little rule of thumb, if a country ends in an E, it's generally feminine. I'm sure there's an exception somewhere, but that's just a general rule. For example, France is always la France because it ends in an E. So France is a feminine country, all right? Okay, here's already an exception. Le Canada, all right, ends in a vowel. It is masculine. I'm telling you, most of them are, but looks like we have a few examples here that are not. And that's probably why we listed them. Le Mexique and Le Canada are masculine. But even if you put it as feminine, it's really not the end of the world, okay? But generally, if something ends in a vowel, it is going to be feminine, okay? All right, just quickly on the pronunciation here, we've got l'Amérique centrale, so Central America, le Guatemala. So if you look at a word like Guatemala, you're going to pronounce it with a French accent. So it's going to be the same. And a lot of the states will work just like that as well. So instead of saying Guatemala, they would say le Guatemala. Over here in South America, l'Amérique du Sud, we have l'Argentine and le Brésil. L'Australie is Australia. In Europe, l'Allemagne, Germany. L'Angleterre, England. La Belgique, Belgium. L'Espagne is Spain. La France, l'Irlande, l'Italie, le Portugal, la Suisse, and la Russie. All right, so if we want to go over here to a few different regions, we've got l'Afrique, l'Égypte, le Sénégal, Israël, le Lebanon, le Cambodge, la Chine, la Corée is Korea, l'Inde and le Japon and le Vietnam. All right, so a lot of these are pretty easy to figure out just by looking at them. But if we're wanting to talk about a particular state, in French, what they would do talking about states is most state names are going to be masculine and they're going to be spelled the exact same way as they would in English, but they would pronounce them with a French accent. So for example, Kentucky, they would say le Kentucky. All right. A few other examples. California ends in an E, so that one would be feminine. They would say la Californie. New York would be le New York. Idaho would be l'Idaho. Okay, so the pronunciation obviously changes a little bit. Montana, le Montana. All right, so they would pronounce it with a French accent. Okay, notice here we've already done your directions, but we've got le nord, le sud, l'ouest, and l'est. All right. Now for your homework, this should be relatively easy, but you're going to learn your geography a little bit because I know that some of you will not know where these are, so you might have to look it up. What you're doing for exercise number 4 is you're going to say the capitals of the country. So we've got capitale and pays. All right, so for each one, you're going to write the country is la capitale of Japan. Now notice we've got do here because Japan is masculine. So if it is feminine, it would be de la. All right, so for example, if we look over here, we've got Mexico. Mexico City, that was an easy one, is the capital of Mexico, which is right here. All right, so for number 1, you're going to write out Mexico est la capitale du Mexique. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, Bruxelles est la capitale de la Belgique. Okay? That's how that works. So you're going to go through each of these capitals and write out what country is the capital of. If you're not sure, you're going to have to look it up. But I think most of these, some of these you'll probably have to look up. And that's okay. It's good for you to learn your geography. Okay? All right. I also want you to do exercise number 5. For exercise number 5, once again, we're looking at geography a little bit. So for number 5, you're going to use passé composé. You look at the sentence, you're trying to figure out where they're at, and your answer is he or she visited whatever country it may be, okay? So it's going to be il a visité or elle a visité. So for number 1, Sabine a fait une croisière, which tells you is a cruise, sur le Nil. Now, I will tell you the Nile is in Egypt, okay? So you want to say, she visited Egypt. Elle a visité l'Égypte. L'Égypte, okay? So the countries, remember, are all on this page, but you're going to say where they visited. All right, number 2. Nous avons acheté des cartes postales de Venise. Venice is in Italy. So you're going to say, we visited Italy. Nous avons visité l'Italie. All right? So I want you to go through exercise number 4 and exercise number 5. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully you'll learn a little geography today. Okay? Bonne journée. Au revoir.